This content is for educational purposes only. It explains general fitness, muscle growth, and health concepts based on widely accepted science. It is not medical advice. Always consult a qualified professional before starting any exercise or nutrition program. He walks into the gym for the first time, full of motivation, full of energy, believing that lifting heavier weights every day will quickly transform his body, because that's what he has seen everywhere on social media, in movies, in before and after transformations. But what he doesn't realize is that the biggest obstacle standing between him and muscle growth is not effort, it's misunderstanding. Because nearly 90% of beginners unknowingly repeat the same mistakes over and over again, and instead of building muscle, they build frustration, and this is where the real story begins. Because muscle building is not just about lifting weights, it's about understanding how the human body responds to stress, recovery, nutrition, and consistency. And without that understanding, even the hardest work can lead to no results, or worse, injury. And so the journey of this beginner becomes a reflection of millions, waking up sore but not stronger, training harder but not smarter, eating more but not better, wondering why progress feels invisible. And the truth is simple but often ignored. Muscles don't grow in the gym. They grow after the gym, during recovery, when the body repairs microscopic damage caused by resistance training and strengthens itself to handle future stress, a process deeply connected to biology, hormones, and energy balance. But beginners often fall into the trap of thinking more is better, training every day without rest, targeting the same muscles repeatedly, believing that soreness equals growth, when in reality, overtraining leads to fatigue, reduced performance, and stalled progress. And then comes the second mistake, poor form. Because in the rush to lift heavier weights, technique is sacrificed, and instead of targeting the intended muscle, the body compensates using joints and other muscle groups, reducing effectiveness and increasing injury risk. And slowly, what started as motivation turns into discomfort, pain, and confusion, and then there is inconsistency, one of the most silent killers of progress. Because muscle growth requires repeated stimulus over time, not random bursts of effort followed by long breaks. But beginners often start strong, motivated by emotion, only to lose rhythm when results don't come fast enough. And this is where psychology plays a powerful role, because the human brain craves quick rewards, and when it doesn't see immediate change, it begins to doubt the process, leading to skipped workouts, irregular routines, and eventually quitting. But the body doesn't respond to emotion. It responds to consistency, and then comes nutrition, one of the most misunderstood aspects of muscle building, because many believe that eating more automatically leads to growth. But without proper balance of protein, carbohydrates, and healthy fats, the body lacks the building blocks it needs, protein being especially critical, as it provides amino acids required for muscle repair and growth, while carbohydrates fuel workouts and replenish glycogen stores, and fats support hormonal function, including testosterone, which plays a role in muscle development. But beginners either undereat, fearing fat gain, or overeat without structure, leading to fat accumulation instead of lean muscle, and metabolism itself becomes part of the equation as the body adapts to calorie intake and expenditure, requiring a balanced approach rather than extremes. And then there is sleep, the most underrated factor, because during deep sleep, the body releases growth hormone, repairs tissues, and resets the nervous system. But in a world driven by late nights and screen exposure, sleep is often sacrificed, and without it, recovery is incomplete. Energy levels drop and performance declines, creating a cycle of poor workouts and slower progress. And then there are myths, the illusions that shape expectations, like the belief that supplements are magic solutions, when in reality, they are only supportive tools, not replacements for training and nutrition. Or the idea that one specific workout routine works for everyone, ignoring individual differences in genetics, lifestyle, and recovery capacity. And so people jump from one program to another, chasing perfection instead of committing to consistency. And this constant switching prevents the body from adapting properly, Because adaptation requires repetition over time. And then there is comparison, one of the most dangerous psychological traps, because beginners compare their progress to others, not realizing that every body responds differently, and what took someone else 6 months might take them a year. But social media rarely shows the full journey, only the highlights, creating unrealistic expectations, and this disconnect leads to frustration, self-doubt, and sometimes giving up entirely. But beneath all these mistakes lies a deeper truth. Muscle building is not just a physical process. It's a mental discipline, a long-term commitment to habits, patience, and learning. And transformation doesn't happen in days or weeks. It happens over months and years of consistent effort, where small improvements compound into visible change. And when the beginner begins to understand this, everything starts to shift. He starts focusing on form instead of weight, quality instead of quantity, consistency instead of intensity. He begins to respect rest days, understanding that recovery is part of training, not a break from it. He starts fueling his body properly, not starving it or overloading it, but giving it what it needs to perform and grow. He prioritizes sleep, recognizing that without it, progress slows down. And slowly, almost quietly, the body begins to respond. Strength increases, movements feel more controlled, energy levels stabilize, and the mirror begins to reflect change. Not dramatic overnight transformation, but steady, real progress. And this is where the transformation phase truly begins. Not just physically, but mentally. Because discipline replaces motivation, habits replace guesswork, and understanding replaces confusion. And what once felt overwhelming becomes structured, manageable, and even enjoyable. And the journey itself becomes the reward. Because every workout is no longer just about lifting weights. It's about building resilience, patience, and self-control. And in the end, the biggest mistake beginners make is not lack of effort, but lack of understanding, because when effort is guided by knowledge, results become inevitable, and the body, when treated correctly, responds with growth, strength, and adaptation. And so the message becomes clear. Muscle building is not a race, it's a process. Not a secret, but a system. Not about extremes, but about balance. And those who learn this early avoid years of frustration, while those who ignore it remain stuck, repeating the same cycle. And so he stands there again, in the same gym, but this time different. Not chasing quick results, but building something deeper, something lasting. Understanding that real transformation is not just about changing the body, but about changing the way he thinks, trains, eats, and lives. And that is where true strength is built.